It is Monday, May 25th, 2020. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And it was yet another No Jiu-Jitsu Get Your Ass Kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Monday. I gotta tell you, I'm starting to get a little worried. Not just about the possibility of my gym not reopening, which, although I gotta say, just minor update on that. I kind of forwarded a little question to the primary instructor, and his reply gave me the impression that, at least for the moment, there doesn't seem to be any risk of him closing down. So that's good. You know, it means that, at least to me, it indicates that there's a good possibility that they'll make it through this just fine. And that's a good thing, you know, because I want to continue going. But the problem that I'm seeing, and I'm not going to be real happy about it if I come back to this bullshit. But apparently there's some bullshit where they're trying to maintain the social distancing while having jiu-jitsu gyms open. I don't know how to sort this one out. Apparently one or two gyms have opened, and they're doing social distancing. And are you fucking kidding me? We're talking about jiu-jitsu here. I mean, come on now. Yeah, the fact of the matter is that we've flattened the curve. We've stomped it into a fucking oblivion, and places are starting to reopen as they should never have been closed to begin with. But yeah, you know, we had to run into the economic wall to begin with. And it's funny, I saw something and it's kind of reminiscent of what I've been talking about with a kind of a disillusion of control. And what I mean by that is that, you know, the more that lawmakers and mayors and governors and whatnot, the longer they push this thing and try and capitalize on the control that it's giving them, the more they're going to see an abuse in response. And as a matter of fact, it's already gotten to the point where we're starting to see cannonball runs again. And I don't know if you guys know what a cannonball run is, but apparently it's a run from one end of the country to the other. There was a time when this happened, back in the 80s, and it was similar to what's going on now. You know, that there was a major squeeze due to gas prices. We were having some problems with Iran, and at the moment at that time, they were supplying oil to us and others. And although I don't know that we ever had a direct relationship with Iran in that way, we may have. I'm not sure. We may have during the time of the Shah. We may have been getting oil from them, but there was a disruption because we tried to cause a coup there and ended up getting kicked out of Iran. And during that time, because of the offset, the lack of oil coming into the market, that caused some disruptions. And that caused some economic issues on the backside of it, because a lot of people were tied up just trying to get gas. See, I think the same thing happened relatively recently, probably a few months ago, and we had some things to buttress the oil issue, namely being the thousands of tankers that are running around the planet right now with their holds full of oil. And so, like I said, we haven't had to face the reality of this shutdown happening and not having those people in the oil fields working, you know. Because if it would have come out that way, and again, if you reflect back on that time, there was some issues with regard to inflation. There was a big word being spread around in the news, and it was because of the borrowing and spending that was going on in Washington to try and paper over this hole in the economy, and we never did. There was a savings and loans crisis back there in the 80s. There was another one, a similar crisis in the 90s, and then of course in the 2000s we had the big crash. But see, I think this is a thing that we built up all kinds of state apparatus in the run up and during World War II, and we kept those spending habits and those borrowing habits all the way through until today. Only we keep running into this inflation issue, and we keep having to cause, globally disrupting issues in order to offset it and to hide it. Well, I don't think we're going to be able to hide it this time. I think there's been a bit of a transition as far as who's manufacturing what, and that's caused some supply issues. But later on, I think we're going to be facing economic issues where the bills for those goods that came into market at this time are coming due, and the people that were supposed to be paying them don't have the money. See, I believe the whole COVID thing was to cover up a big old economic hole due to the borrowing and spending. Because that was never corrected, we're still having to face it. We're not going to get over it. Because people want their fucking money, and if we don't have their money, well, they're not going to get their money, and they might actually come and try and get it from us. But, that causes all kinds of other issues, and we haven't gotten to the point yet, I think, on the whole incentive chain where we can be affording to treat one another in such an adversarial manner, especially not now with as globally dependent as our trade has become. But I think that in itself is reshaping, and it's going to be due to this COVID shit. Fortunately for us, we've got a lot better manufacturing techniques this time around, so if we are having to rebuild a manufacturing base domestically, it will be much cleaner and much more efficient than what we would have been doing and installing back in like the 70s, 80s, or even 90s. So we have that to be thankful for. Despite the fact that whatever processes that we do engage in, there's going to be some waste, we can always make an effort to try and minimize it, Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down with some music, because short and sweet and whatnot, got to get rolling. But we'll go with some Body Count, as normal. And I played this song the other day while I was working out. It's so beastly that I snap out kind of when I hear it. It's just that cool. It's that cool song. So here it is, Bum Rush by Body Count off of Carnivore First Dance here on Coin Metal. And that was Testament with Perilous Nation. Kind of dug deep on that one, but that was actually not my choice. The computer said it's time for Testament, and I couldn't help but agree. It was time. And so we had it. And so, as far as where we're going to go now, I just wanted to mention something. And I had to tell you, it bugs me that there is so much censorship on the internet. And it's causing some really lame shit to happen. Stuff like SEO. Search engine optimization. What it really means is directing people who had no intention of looking up your fucking website to your website. And, that sounds cool and all, but it can be gamed to where, websites that do not deserve showing up on your fucking first 1,000 fucking search results is suddenly on the first 10. Oh, wonderful. You got your shit in my eyeballs. Thanks. Was it what I was looking for? No. Had absolutely nothing to do with what I was looking for. And as a matter of fact, just through Google, a fucking #1 search engine and all that, right? I can't find exactly what I'm fucking looking for. Now, you know what? If you're the number one motherfucking search engine on the market, I should be able to type in words and find exactly what the fuck I'm looking for. But no. You and your fucking SEO bullshit, you gotta direct me to what you want me to see and not what I want to find. And I have to be really fucking neat and sneaky in my search query, and not just smart, sneaky, to find what I'm fucking looking for. And it really shouldn't be that bad. I should be able to find what I'm looking for. No fucking censorship. No fucking bullshit. And I mean, people wonder why people object to censorship. It's because this is the information superhighway, man. There's supposed to be pretty much whatever the fuck I want to find, I find it online, right? Well, if I can't find what I'm looking for, then it's not any good to me, you know. I think this is a lesson of interest that, it's just lost on a lot of people. It's like a few of the blowbacks from this whole COVID thing it's like this. If I start up a business and then you can just like come along one day and like say, okay, you can't run your business anymore. You gotta wait because of cold. Yeah, cold happened, and so you can't do business anymore. You have to shut down right now, and you can't do business anymore. Okay, if I know deep in my mind there's this possibility that just one day you can just arbitrarily say, you know what, you're not doing business anymore for whatever arbitrary reason you decide to make up. What incentive is there now for me to start up a business? The desire in my mind to start up a quote-unquote legitimate business, a fully registered licensed business, goes through the fucking window. Because I don't want you to be able to stop me. I don't want you to be able to tell me, no, you can't do business anymore just on a fucking wave of your magic wand. I want to continue on because, I gotta put food in my mouth. My life is not going to end or come to some sort of stop. The rest of my life is continuing to move. People are still asking me for rent. People are still asking me for electricity and electricity bill and my phone bill and all that, my internet bill. Those things are still accumulating while you're telling me, fuck you, you can't do business anymore. So I mean, like, really, you're fucking with my life now, and you want no, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to create a lifestyle that circumvents your control in every possible way, because I don't want to experience this again. I don't want you interfering with my life again. It's been too costly to me. And I believe that I'm not the only one that has that sentiment. There's something on my in my group, and I'm not going to disclose it here because it's a private group and whatever. But there was concern over some other gym opening up, and I'm like, dude, what do you care? It's their gym. I trust that my instructors are going with what they feel is necessary, as far as compliance is concerned. I don't want them to lose their business or get fined or any of that other bullshit. So, I trust in them to handle their business as they see fit. But I also trust other businesses to do business as they see fit as well. And of course I have my own personal interests, but I'm not going to go ranting off on that either, because I do that enough. But, the point being that it's private businesses. Let them manage their business as they see fit, and let the cards fall where they may. We cannot live life like we got to wear a fucking life vest everywhere because there may be a flood sometime tomorrow. or some tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe a year from now. But you got to be prepared. So, go around with the life preserver on. That's what it looks like to me when people are wearing the masks, because it's funny, I've been reading on that quite a bit, and it seems to me that even the professionals, like Fauci himself the other day, he was saying that the wearing a mask, if you're actually healthy, can be detrimental, but because that's not actually what it's for. What the mask is for is if you already have it, it inhibits your ability to shed it via aerosol, i.e. your exhale. That's it. It's to protect other people, not to protect you. So anyway, as far as what we're going to get into on subject matter, because I'm done ranting on the big flu, and this guy is like the fucking COVID equivalent in crypto. I mean, there are a few other COVID equivalents, but this guy, and we can't seem to get away from him, so we're going to go ahead and mention it because it's kind of like one of my favorite subjects. Now, I'm sorry, you can't be really smarmy to me and be a fucking asshole to me and expect that I'm going to be nice to you. It's just, it doesn't work that way. Delicious. Anyway, this is on Coindesk.com. Craig Wright called fraud in message signed with Bitcoin addresses he claims to own. This is on May 25th, 2020 at 1444 UTC. I swear this person is like a Mason or something. They always put it out at 244. And this is authored by Daniel Palmer. So yes, penis. The credibility of Craig Wright, the Australian tech entrepreneur who controversially claims to be Bitcoin's pseudonymous inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto, has taken another blow. After a list of Bitcoin addresses Wright had provided as being his holdings in an ongoing court case were briefly and, quote, inadvertently made public by plaintiffs on May 21st. 145 of the addresses were used to sign a public message, both calling Wright a fraud and making it plain that he does not in fact own or control them. The court case was brought by Ira Kleeman, the brother of Wright's former business partner David Kleeman, and seeks half of 1.1 million Bitcoin, worth around $9.6 billion, the two allegedly mined in the early days of cryptocurrency, as well as intellectual property. The case hinges on whether Wright can prove he has the keys to the trove of cryptocurrency. While the list of addresses was quickly resealed by the Kleeman legal team, it still exists on Court Listener and looks to have provided a means for another individual to identify a number of addresses they in fact hold the keys to. That in turn enabled them to sign a message with the Bitcoin keys. It reads, quote, Craig Stephen Wright is a liar and a fraud. He doesn't have the keys used to sign this message. The Lightning Network is a significant achievement, however, we need to continue work on improving on-chain capacity. Unfortunately, the solution is not just to change a constant in the code or to allow powerful participants to force out others. We are all Satoshi. Some of the many addresses in the court filing published on Court Listener are indeed used to sign the message. The message was first brought to wider attention on Reddit with the claim that the addresses are for Bitcoin mined in 2009 and that have not been moved since. BitMEX Research tweeted that it had taken, quote, a random sample of 20 of the addresses and found that they did not match the holdings of the dominant early Bitcoin miner in 2009, who many think was Satoshi. The firm's earlier research on this is to be found here, and we're going to go ahead and follow that up. Wright had claimed in court that his billions in Bitcoin were held for him in so-called tulip trusts, but that he could not prove his control over the keys due to attorney-client privilege. He has been accused by the judge of, quote, abusing client-attorney privilege without documents and obfuscate proceedings elsewhere in the case. Last August, the judge also found Wright had argued in bad faith, perjured himself, and admitted false evidence. In another filing on May 21st, the Kleeman team filed an omnibus motion for sanctions against Wright, claiming, quote, Wright is engaged in a sustained pattern of perjury, forged evidence, misleading filings, and obstruction. This included submission of false evidence which, if not unmasked, could have resulted in plaintiffs being deprived of their day in court. Saying the abuses are undeniably directed at the singular goal of making it impossible for plaintiffs to prevail at trial, defendants seek sanctions and a default judgment against Wright. Wright, for his part, is hoping to bring new expert witnesses into court, one of whom is said to be, quote, a licensed clinical psychologist who has studied autism spectrum disorder. No. Mr. Wright, your deceptions have been the product of an entirely capable and cognizant mind. Your sociopathy exposed in your acts is so layered and intricate that it cannot possibly be the product of a mental deficiency. Fuck you. Continuing on. If the judge rules in favor of Wright on this matter, Dr. Amy Klin will, quote, testify that he has diagnosed Dr. Wright with autism spectrum disorder with high intellectual skills. Dr. Klin's testimony will help the jury understand how this disability affects behavior. No, he's a fucking sociopath. He can't help but lie. Give me a fucking break. Another of Wright's experts would testify on whether David Kleeman, quote, had the requisite skills and experience to have written or significantly to have contributed to the original Bitcoin software application released in 2009. The Kleeman team is seeking to block the appearances of the four expert witnesses. No, admit them. By denying them, you're giving some sort of credence. You're acting like they're going to expose something that is in fact threatening to your case. And I'm sorry, there isn't anything that they could introduce that will make up for the material falsehoods that Mr. Wright has brought to the court as quote unquote proof or as notices or documents meant to substantiate his claims. Repeatedly fraudulent, repeatedly brought in forgeries. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to take a sidestep here and say that I think a lot of the operating systems and hardware that we have these days are compromised. And I know a lot of you guys in fucking InfoSec and OPSEC, you're just fucking slapping your head going, yeah, whatever, yeah, I know. And to that end, it's conceivable that he's actually Satoshi and all of his documents have been edited and all the things that he claims have been proven to be false, fraudulently or whatever. Let's go with Occam's razor, though. That since this man has shown up and made a single claim concerning Bitcoin, that pretty much everything that he has said and his intentions and operations in cryptocurrency have been proven to be fraudulent. And now, I did want to take another step, though, on that point, is that, when I first got involved in Bitcoin, I did have conversations with people where they seemed to view Bitcoin as something that would eventually be done on an industrial level, and that we would basically have no interest in it. And I disputed it then, and I still do to this day. That my point to them was that if I don't have any interest in it, why should I trust it? Because I'm going back to having to trust a huge monolith to handle my money for me. Now, they did not describe it in terms of multi-layer fucking lightning network bullshit. They described it in terms of more in terms of BSV. But see, like, the thing with BSV is that the point where we hit such an adoption curve where we need industrial miners to do more than just compensate for the lack of genuine interest in a lot of these projects. That point is so much further down the line. You're talking like 20, 30 years down the line from where we are right now. The vast majority of these projects are still mineable at a profit. But of course, the miners do have to consider their own self-interest above all else. And so this counts when determining which implementations or which BIPs to implement and mine. And if you can determine that mining it one way is not profitable for you, but modifying a certain BIP is profitable for you, why wouldn't you do it? You're perfectly capable of doing it. And that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing with regard to Bitcoin. As long as you're staying in line with Bitcoin, and that people are still able to spend their coins on the network, that it's backwards compatible with whatever changes you make going forward, then nobody really would complain about it. And I think this is where forks and alts get their legitimacy, is that if there is such a dominance of opinion on how Bitcoin should operate, that there's just no way that splinter factions or smaller interest groups can get their way within the Bitcoin network, they can fork. And if they're willing to sustain that fork with their hardware, it will continue to persist. And that's happened multiple times in Bitcoin. But one of the problems that I've seen is that the interest that normally drove the adoption and proliferation of altcoins has been diverted into multiple different avenues, one of which being ICOs. The idea that you can get rich quick. There is no get rich quick. You got to fucking work for it no matter what. Whether we're talking about computer hardware working for you, or you having to bang rocks. Somebody has to do the fucking work. You don't get it without people doing the work. And so, that's where I say that these networks were supposed to continue to expand and grow and quote-unquote scale with increasing public interest in them. Meaning that as you got interested in it, you got interested into it because you were mining. Because you had a copy of the blockchain and you could verify your transactions and the state of your money at any one time. Because you had a live record of it. And you're recording all the transactions that are happening at any one time. So of course you could tell if your own coins were being moved without your desire. Now, of course, you lose that transparency when you go into the Lightning Network. There are, of course, ways that you can monitor your shit, and of course, you can be hosting your own node, There are implementations where you don't need a third party to be providing that for you. But at the same time, I don't really like Lightning Network. And I've gone on ad nauseum on why. But I'll wait until an actual fuck up, which shouldn't be too long. And where I'll be documenting it or talking about it. But anyway, as far as what else I wanted to get into, I got this one and one other. This is one aspect of crypto that I think is really undermentioned, and it's that there are multiple ways to get cryptocurrency. All of them involve work. One of them is mining, another is trading, and yet another is to sell goods or services for cryptocurrency. And honestly, I believe that the last one is probably the best way to do it, other than, of course, the first one. I mean, because, of course, you want to support the networks and whatnot, but it's always good to be converting things that are worth monetary value, at least to you and somebody else, to be doing those transactions in cryptocurrency, because it has the same effect of doing those transactions in US dollars. Despite the fact it is a IOU of a bank, it still represents the notional face value. So you got a $20 bill. If somebody is willing to trade you that $20 bill for your good or service, you have made the decision that the good or service is worth $20 of a private bank's debt. Because somebody else is willing to acknowledge that debt when you provide it on bearer, to another bearer. So, I mean, it's like a bearer certificate in that aspect. But on the books, you've basically made that $20 bill worth whatever good or service you exchanged it for. So like if it was a small chunk of gold, $20 worth of gold, and you exchanged it. On the books for the Fed, I mean, like, of course, if it was noticed anywhere, this transaction was recorded anywhere, it would be recorded that $20 was exchanged for this chunk of gold. And so when you're looking at the asset sheet of what those IOUs are worth to the market at large, you've got this little chunk of gold in there among the different assets. Well, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. See, when you buy something that's worth $20 for $20 worth of Bitcoin, you've made whatever it is that you purchased or sold worth that $20, at least at that point in time. So whatever actual exchange rate there was, so say it was 0.0040000, that's how much Bitcoin was exchanged for the good or service, right? Well, at the point that you made the purchase or exchange or sale, it was worth $20. But there's always the possibility that it'll go up in value. Once you have it in Bitcoin form, you've exchanged this good or service worth $20 for $20 worth of Bitcoin. You're holding the $20 worth of Bitcoin. When it goes up in value, you'll be able to exchange it not for $20 worth of Bitcoin, but 22, 24, 20,000. Who knows? We don't know. But that's the difference between doing the exchange in a cryptocurrency versus doing one in banker IOUs. Because banker IOUs, they only seem to get worth less over time. And that includes against cryptocurrencies because they circulate within the same economies. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down with some music. I got some Ministry playing in the background. I kind of feel feel like it would be a good time for some ministry. Let's see what we can dredge up here. Something I don't typically play. Here we go. Perma-War by Ministry. Here on Coin Metal. And that was Prong with Brainwave. Yeah, we ran a little over, sorry. Had to hit it again. It's my COVID prevention technique. Alright. But I will tell you that I do have plenty of good stuff. My apologies there. Went a little bit over. But anyway, as far as what else we've got today, I lined up this stuff, and I lined it so we can just snort it all up in one big batch. And the first one is on decrypt.co. And I thought this was really humorous because this is one of those things that's going to kind of end with what I was talking about, with people taking advantage of cryptocurrencies as what they were originally intended, i.e. money, digital money, peer-to-peer digital money. That's what this shit's all about. I know a lot of y'all have been convinced that it's all this what is it, store of value, stock to flow, store of value. Fuck you. There is nothing in anybody's head that commits them to any valuation or to honor any valuation according to the regular market. If you or somebody else are in commerce, the exchange rate for what you are trading between yourselves is entirely up to you. That means that if you decide to make an exchange, like say you sell barbecue sauce, and it's $5 a bottle, US dollars, but you're willing to take Verge, and you look at the chart, and you think, you know what, Verge might go up a little bit, so if somebody offers me Verge, I will offer them an additional premium because I want their Verge, because I'm looking at the market, and I think that if I accept Verge right now at this price, even if I give them a little bit of a premium, so say it's at what, 48 Satoshis right now. Say I value it at 50 Satoshis per coin, and we operate on that exchange rate. I give him that 2 additional Satoshi premium because he's willing to do business with me and he's willing to buy my barbecue sauce. That's a value to me because I value his Verge. I'm looking at the chart and I'm thinking, this shit's probably going to go way up in the not so distant future, and so I might want to have more of it in my wallet so that I can exchange it for something else at a later time for more than I can get for it right now. I mean, really, how hard was that to think of? And that this is commerce. These are terms of commerce that you can set for yourself. So anyway, I got this article here. It's Argentina is cracking down on local Bitcoin trading. That's very interesting. And this is by Jose Lanz. So yes, penis. And let's get down below the bullet points because we don't like to read those first. Argentina's government is cracking down on crypto trading in the country in order to stamp out money laundering and other illegal activity. But the country's latest measures against Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may in fact have more to do with an attempt to prevent further devaluation of its national currency, the peso, according to observers. According to a report from Argentine newspaper El Cronista, the country's Financial Information Unit, FIU, a government agency that monitors compliance with anti-money laundering laws, is seeking tighter controls on cryptocurrency trading. Quote, recently, we have seen an increase in operations carried out through virtual assets, FIU President Carlos Alberto Cruz, said in a statement last week, quote, these transactions, quote, could be carried out by people who intend to circumvent international standards and avoid the anti-money laundering framework, he said. The FIU said it aims to gather more information on individuals and entities involved in crypto trading and ordered a large swath of institutions ranging from banks and credit card companies to exchanges and mutual funds to report suspicious activity. Other entities such as mail and shipping companies, stockbrokers, NGOs, and even art galleries and sport leagues will be under greater scrutiny by the FIU. Oh my gosh. But the timing of the move is telling. As El Cronista noted, the FIU order comes at a time when the government is in the midst of battling, quote, parallel exchange markets that see Argentine citizens dumping pesos for more stable foreign currencies. As Franco Amati, founder of Buenos Aires Bitcoin Center, explained on Twitter, the Argentine government is essentially trying to prevent the practice of citizens buying Bitcoin with Argentine pesos and converting those Bitcoins to US dollars on foreign exchanges. This while Bitcoin trading volume in Argentina is on the rise, increasing at almost the same speed at which its economy has been declining. Argentina, in fact, began 2020 with a significant spike in Bitcoin trading on peer-to-peer exchanges, and Bitcoin has, at various times during the year, traded at a premium within the country. Curiously, the same was also briefly true of the DAI stablecoin, which is also very popular in Argentina. Other observers similarly looked to Twitter to voice their concerns. Prominent Venezuela-based crypto trader and analyst David Pataglia condemned the measure as a ploy designed to, quote, confiscate the little wealth that Argentines have left. Mexican lawyer and investor Mickey Sierra likewise warned that the situation could be dangerous for crypto traders in Argentina should the FIU begin to seek the seizure of crypto funds that it suspects have been involved in illegal activity. Yeah, good fucking luck with that. I mean, really now. If somebody is intent, they will avoid all of the circumvention measures that have been put forth. There are multiple ways to do it, and all of them are very, very cheap. Much cheaper than the amount of friction one would experience in legacy markets. And so it's for this reason that this will continue. It is survival. We're not in places like Argentina and Venezuela and more Turkey and all kinds of other places. They're trying to enact these measures to get ahead of legitimate commerce taking place on other networks and avoiding all of their silly ass bullshit frameworks. They're I want your money for doing absolutely nothing. This is ending. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of you out there, or maybe some of you. I don't expect that a lot of you do. I know that some at least depend on jobs that have, like implicit income. That the money is just going to continue to come. It's going to come from out of nowhere. It's just people are going to wave the magic wand, and the money's going to come to me. And no. See, that money has to come from somewhere. It has to have a source. And at the moment, it's central banks. They're willing to issue us credit, but where are they getting the credit? Well, they are basically purchasing your time and your productivity from your national governments, and or basically issuing a loan against it to your national government and issuing it out into the economy. But they throw it right back to private banks first, who then sell it to your government. And this puts a series of friction points on the money itself before it even gets to your hands. This is one of the wealth displacer effects, is because finance is honed in on this, and they track the disbursements of new U.S. dollars and new fiat currencies very, very closely, and they make their adjustments as they see fit. But they're not the only ones doing it. See, because the Fed, they aren't happy just making money on one side of the trade as the provider. No. They're also participating in the open market. They are purchasing securities that you're purchasing. You are competing against them. They are the whale at the table with the unlimited bankroll, because they are the bank too. You can see where this creates a problem. Cryptocurrencies are an effort to circumvent the system entirely. And I believe in the not so distant future, probably within the next, I don't know, it depends on how successful they are at getting some sort of compliance with regard to management or transacting with the majority of cryptocurrency, the majority of the value transacting within their little AML frameworks, and they know who everybody has what, as long as those exist out there, that there are going to be people that are trying to avoid it, that are just circumventing it entirely. Because this friction itself, number one, on the AML KYC side, is dangerous to individuals because their information could be compromised from the exchange itself. And of course, there's also the danger to their monetary value that they're holding on the exchange because of that. The effort to hammer down it is going to splinter off the crypto economy, where we are going to start seeing coins that are spawning, and they're only traded within the miners. That they aren't even bothering trying to get on listed on exchanges. They're just using it as a medium of exchange, as cryptocurrencies were initially intended. And they're simply going to negate and avoid this entire shit. It's probably going on right now already. There are entities out there like Liquid. There's been this big old burst of activity on social media concerning Liquid and Liquid apps. They're trying to compete with Ethereum, but it's all on a centralized side chain. So you can't avoid the AML KYC bullshit, and you're trusting Liquid Labs with everything. Well, I don't imagine that that's going to be all that popular for most people. But these are efforts at trying to create sequestered economies where these big players can do their trades outside of the exchange market and the retail exchange market and just make money in the background. I can see where this would create problems with liquidity, is they're more and more successful and they draw more and more of the actual Bitcoin liquidity into their markets. How that would create an imbalance in the retail markets, and that would cause some issues with people trying to recover their funds, because there are, of course, some exchanges out there operating on fractional reserves, and you can't expect them not to. The temptation is there. Anyway, I wanted to get further into this idea of accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a medium of exchange, i.e. money. And so here it is. It's on Cointelegraph.com. This is by Jason Harris. Bubblers for Bitcoin. Why I've started accepting Bitcoin for glass pipes. And so yes, penis. Once my company... this actually starts on the top. Bitcoin has become the biggest win for business. A personal story from an artist and businessman. Once my company, Jerome Baker's Designs, had become one of the premier producers of custom bongs and pipes in the 1990s, I no longer enjoyed doing it. However, when the Drug Enforcement Administration busted through the doors of my warehouse and the feds closed my business and seized all my assets, I had a change of heart. While I still won't blow custom glass for cash, I will do it for Bitcoin. Why? Because I truly believe in Bitcoin. When I was indicted in 2003 for trafficking illegal drug paraphernalia, alongside 50 other individuals like my pal Tommy Chong, the authorities said I succeeded in part because of the internet. As an early adopter of technology, when I first heard of Bitcoin, I recognized it as a potential currency of the internet. Some of my peers were already accepting Bitcoin. Bitcoins were being traded for cannabis in Humboldt County, California, for example. After Bitcoin became popular, it took off, and a lot of farmer friends became millionaires. Initially, a friend of mine in Los Angeles told me about Bitcoin when its price was around $75. This same guy told me about Instagram and Snapchat before those apps became popular too. Next thing I knew, the price was already $750. That's when I decided to accept Bitcoin. My friend showed me how to set up my own wallet. When it comes to computers, I'm not super technical. I wouldn't be able to figure out how to mine Bitcoin. Oh, that's bullshit. So I decided to mine Bitcoin out of humans by selling them products they would buy with Bitcoin. I began selling large bubblers. The price for the piece for which I was best known in the 1990s, when Bitcoin was approximately $700. It turned out that some people who owned Bitcoin wanted my glass bubblers. I got a few deals for Bitcoin, and then the price went through the roof. Accepting Bitcoin has been great for business. I've been able to reach people who many of my peers in the cannabis industry are still missing out on. When I tell them that they should accept Bitcoin, many of them respond, quote, "What is a Bitcoin?" For me, Bitcoin is the biggest no-brainer thing ever. It is a great way to transact. I've never had any problems with the process. People come through Las Vegas all the time, where my headquarters are located, and pick up products for Bitcoin. For some, Bitcoin's volatility can be stressful, but after having all of my assets seized once by the federal government, I feel like I've taken back the power by legally accepting Bitcoin in my business. I believe that every business should accept Bitcoin. That would make Bitcoin itself much more powerful too. I have been accepting Bitcoin since 2012, and I've had the opportunity to make many transactions with it. I predict that the global population will soon jump onto this currency and start using it a lot more. At the very least, if you run a business that banks consider, quote, high risk, which means that it's almost impossible to get a bank account, then Bitcoin is great for you. The currency lends itself nicely to such industries. The complex algorithm of the Bitcoin network is written so well and connects so deeply to the digital world that it seems it can never go away. The fact that we have adopted it and put our savings into it only shows its potential power. It's a biblical algorithm that transformed humanity and will transform it on a powerful and fundamental level, forever changing the course of history. I think that's an apt prediction. However, how it will change it, I think that's the fundamental difference between mine and a lot of other people's opinions, is that I don't believe that Bitcoin itself will be like the dominant payment mechanism. It may be the dominant cryptocurrency, but as far as what people actually utilize as a means of payment or money itself, currency, that will be something like Monero or Litecoin or Verge. It'll be some coin that has a really fast confirm time, and you can do business, retail business with it because of that. And I think that's the more powerful thing to pay attention to, because you're not going to find that power by lending it off to another third party, because basically you're just giving yourself somebody else to say no to when you don't need that person to be participating in your commerce at all. And I think this is again one of the points where people get confused about Bitcoin and the difference between it and, say, the US dollar. It's like, so what? You don't have a wallet, other than maybe, something that's provided through your bank or some other third party, where you could be spending your US dollars digitally. Not in the same way that you do with Bitcoin, where you can be the person holding on to your coins. You don't have to issue them off to somebody else so that you can spend them, because that somebody else can always become an attack vector, whether it's because they themselves are an adversarial actor, which turns out to be the case like 30-40% of the time, or they become an attack vector that's addressed by another adversarial attacker. And again, this was a chink in your armor, in your financial armor, that did not need to exist. It was factored in because of the design of the third-party system, that you're operating in, But yeah, I think that too many people did not read the Bitcoin white paper, and so they get kind of confused about all of this. But anyway, I do have some more stuff I wanted to get into today. And this one, I think this is pretty hilarious. Now, whether or not they're actually going to use Bitcoin as the payment mechanism, I don't know. But we're going to find out. This is on Cointelegraph.com. Adrian Zamudzinski. So, yes. Penis, I think. I don't know. Adrian's got a mask on. Let's check and verify. Because we can, maybe. It looks like a dude. Blah, blah, blah. He's, yes, penis. Alright, got it. Italian cryptocurrency project plans to pay users to watch porn. It's a fucking dream job. A novel cryptocurrency project called Pornvisory plans to reward its users with tokens for watching porn on its platform. Pornvisory's founder, Veronica Noschis, explained to Cointelegraph that there's a natural synergy between the cryptocurrency and pornography industry, which desperately needs anonymous financial systems. As example, Noschis, I don't know, pointed to PayPal banning Pornhub from its system in 2019 and the porn giant's subsequent decision to support the Verge cryptocurrency in 2018. In January, Pornhub also started accepting the Tether USDT stablecoin as a payment option. She said, quote, "In the porn industry, there are a lot of issues regarding privacy and reputation. For example, even the biggest name in the industry, Pornhub, saw its account blocked by PayPal. Also, you might not want to pay your premium account to watch porn with the bank account you share with your wife. No, she's said that her company's platform is inspired by the basic attention token the users of Brave browser, the privacy-focused web browser with an integrated ad blocker, receive BAT for enabling special ads. Similarly, users viewing Pornvisory's content will view ads to be compensated in PVY tokens, she said, quote, "Inspired by the Brave browser, we decided to do something similar, but related to the porn industry. The concept is simple. The users will be paid to watch porn videos, and when he/she interacts with the Pornvisory platform in general." So far, Pornvisory is an Italian-language adult industry news outlet, but it soon will also add an English-language news section, a third-party porn video website, and a live streaming platform. There will not be an initial coin offering. According to Noshi's, Pornvisory has no plans to conduct an initial coin offering, but will instead airdrop some of the tokens as a marketing ploy. The project is so far financed with the founder's own funds, but Noshi's plans to seek funding from angel investors once the platform gains traction. Noshi's explained that she has worked as a marketing professional in the adult entertainment industry for a long time, which has allowed her to develop advantageous connections that could be leveraged for future partnerships. She plans to use those connections to enable PVY holders to spend their tokens in sex shops or to tip performers on streaming platforms. Muriel Belli, the CEO of Deep Pit, the Swiss firm responsible for the blockchain aspect of the project, told Cointelegraph that his firm believes the ideas behind Pornvisory have great potential. Quote, "We believe that Pornvisory will succeed if they'll be able to sharpen the focus in a specific segment of their industry. The use of blockchain tools will surely put them one step beyond." I don't know about that. I don't know about the whole Pornvisory business. But the idea of paying somebody specifically to watch porn and in cryptocurrency, I think the idea is interesting, but I'd really like to see them open it up as something where, like, say you wanted to pay in Verge or BAT, right? Or even USDT. You know, that they have a series of tokens that they're managing wallets for, and that they can produce additional addresses for. And they just give you a one-time address, zap you the transaction, or you zap them the transaction, done and done. But I think it's this idea of market capture that I think it's crippling a lot of these projects. Because they focus only in receiving monetary value in the terms that they themselves elect and create. And while that might sound really good for them, it doesn't necessarily sound good to the rest of the market at large. I mean, who are they to tell you what the value is of the product? Let the number of views and the duration of views determine that. And let you pay as you see fit, and let you get paid as you see fit. And I think this is one of the points where these guys will run into some sort of regulatory issues, especially if they are marshaling funds. But again, it's like, as long as, say, the people that are providing content, they receive payments, but not in a system that goes directly through, say, what do you call it? What is it? Porn view or whatever? Pornvisory. Yeah. So say, instead of circumventing Pornvisory, you use Pornvisory's platform, but the platform itself is token and coin agnostic, meaning it doesn't give a fuck what coin you use. It's capable of using all coins or facilitating transactions for all coins. Now, of course, this is a point where they could run into some regulatory friction. However, if they set it up to where, like, a performer, if they want to feature their stuff on the Pornvisory platform, that they themselves determine the currencies that they would like to receive value in, and they themselves provide the wallet addresses that they would like to receive to. So when the transaction is taking place, it's not in Pornvisory's hands at all. But of course, because the transaction is happening through Pornvisory's interface, they would know that the transaction happened, they would know how much it was worth, they would know who it was going from and to. And of course, that information in itself is monetizable. And so all I'm saying is that the biggest problem with projects that are like utility tokens and a lot of these DPoS tokens is that they're looking to have the full capture, to where the closed loop happens within their system. And that would be wonderful if they were providing all of the things that their content producers need in order to function. So like, if I could pay for my electricity, my rent, my water, my food, if I could pay for all those things, my bandwidth, my cell phone account, my bank account fees, if I could pay for all that stuff in PVY token, okay, now you've got the closed loop. But the problem is I have to go to other third parties in order to get these PVY tokens out to a form of monetary value that I can exchange with my landlord or with the electric company. And so again, this is where these utility tokens fail, is because they're trying to create the closed loop without all of the participants that provide the resources that create the loop possibility. It's the same thing with Lightning Network and Liquid and all that other bullshit. Okay, is that they want to stack all this monetary activity and all these dApps and all these apps and all this bullshit on top of one or two transactions that they're paying a transaction fee to the Bitcoin network, while they're conducting billions of dollars worth of transactions on top of the supposed work that they provided out to the miners and paid a fee for, so they paid their $5 fee, but they're doing billions of dollars worth of transactions on that Lightning Network sidechain or whatever. But they don't want to pay the miners that are supporting the network that make all that possible. They don't want to pay them adequately. And there is a pain threshold there. There will be a pain threshold reached where the amount of monetary value that the miners are able to get in terms of fees and actual block reward itself will not be enough for them to sustain operations. And that will cause some susceptibilities within the Bitcoin network, because not enough of it is going to be supported by not enough miners. And so the idea of 51% attacks will go up. And I expect that there's going to be at least a week period, where the fucking difficulty adjustment is off and enough of the miners have dropped off the network where the network itself is going to be susceptible to attack. And I think that if there's enough monetary value tied up in a Lightning Network payment channel, that'll probably be a target, and people will be trying to close it out and get the funds to settle their wallet on chain. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down with some music. And I think this one's kind of appropriate. White Zombie, Welcome to Planet Motherfucker, here on Coin Metal. And that was Meshuggah with By the Ton. And it is with that I'd like to close out this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I want y'all to trade safe, do your homework, and watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And so as far as our last dance is concerned, I haven't picked anything out, because that's just the way I roll it. But I'm looking right now. Did we play any Static X today? Oh, we played some Wayne Static. So that's probably a little overblown. We did not play any Slipknot. We didn't play any Slayer. We didn't even play any Skindred. Holy shit. We're really fucking lacking. And no Sixth. Well, that has to go answered with something. And so here it is. Last Dance. Bland Street Bloom by Sixth. Here on Coin Metal. Thank you again for listening. And y'all have an excellent evening. Good night.